of her own? No surroundings whatever? Nobody but you could be appealed to for this wretched girl?" inquired Mrs. Fausset, fanning herself wearily as she lolled back in her low chair. She wore a loose cream-coloured gown of softest silk and Indian embroidery, and there were diamond stars trembling amongst her feathery golden hair. The flowing garment in which she had dined alone with her husband was to be changed presently for white satin and old Mechlin lace, in which she was to appear at 3 evening parties. But in the meantime, having for once in a way dined at home, she considered her mode of life intensely domestic. The 7-year-old daughter was roaming about with her doll, sometimes in one drawing room, sometimes in another. There were 3 opening into each other, the innermost room half conservatory, shadowy with palms and tropical ferns. Mildred was enjoying herself in the quiet way of children accustomed to play alone, looking at the pretty things upon the various tables, peering in at the old china figures in the cabinets, the ridiculous Chelsea shepherd and shepherdess, the Chelsea lady in hawking costume with a falcon upon her wrist, the absurd lambs and more absurd foliage, and the Bow and Battersea ladies and gentlemen with their blunt features and coarse complexions. Mildred was quite happy, prowling about and looking at things in silent wonder, turning over the leaves of illustrated books and lifting the lids of gold and enamelled boxes, trying to find out the uses and meaning of things. Sometimes she came back to the front drawing room and seated herself on a stool at her mother's feet, solemnly listening to the conversation, following it much more earnestly and comprehending it much better than either her father or mother would have supposed possible. To stop up after 9 o'clock was an unwonted joy for Mildred, who went to bed ordinarily at 7. The privilege had been granted in honour of the rare occasion, a tete-a-tete dinner in the height of the London season. "Is there no one else who could take her?" repeated Mrs. Fausset impatiently, finding her husband slow to answer. "There is really no one else upon whom the poor child has any claim." "Cannot she remain at school? You could pay for her schooling, of course. I should not mind that." This was generous in a lady who had brought her husband a nominal £5,000, and who spent his money as freely as if it had been water. "She cannot remain at school. She is a kind of girl who cannot get on at school. She needs home influences." "You mean that she is a horrid rebellious girl who has been expelled from a school, and whom I am to take because nobody else will have her." "You are unjust and ungenerous, Maud. The girl has not been expelled. She is a girl of peculiar temper, and very strong feelings, and she is unhappy amidst the icy formalities of an unexceptional school. Perhaps had she been sent to some struggling schoolmistress in a small way of business she might have been happier. At any rate she is not happy, and as her people were friends of mine in the past I should like to make her girlhood happy, and to see her well married if I can." "But are there not plenty of other people in the world who would do all you want if you paid them? I'm sure I should not grudge the money." "It is not a question of money. The girl has money of her own. She is an heiress." "Then she is a ward in Chancery, I suppose?" "No, she is my ward. I am her sole trustee." "And you really want to have her here in our own house, and at The Hook too, I suppose? Always with us wherever we go?" "That is what I want, until she marries. She will be 20 in 5 years, and in all probability she will marry before she is 20. It is not a lifelong sacrifice that I am asking from you, Maud. And remember, it is the first favour I have ever asked you." "Let the little girl come, mother," pleaded Mildred, clambering onto her mother's knee. She had been sitting with her head bent over her doll, and her hair falling forward over her face like golden rain, for the last 10 minutes. Mrs. Fausset had no suspicion that the child had been listening, and this sudden appeal was startling to the last degree. "Wisdom has spoken from my darling's rosy lips," said Fausset, coming over to the window and stooping to kiss his child. "My dear John, you must know that your wish is a law to me," replied his wife, submitting all at once to the inevitable. "If you are really bent upon having your ward here, she must come." "I am really bent upon it." "Then let her come as soon as you like." "I will bring her to-morrow." "And I shall have someone to play with," said Mildred in her baby voice. "I shall give her my second best doll." "Not your best, Mildred?" asked her father, smiling at her. Mildred reflected for a few moments. "I'll wait and see what she is like," she said, "and if she is very nice, I will give her quite my best doll. The one you brought me from Paris, father. The one that walks and talks." Maud Fausset sighed, and looked at the little watch dangling on her chatelaine. 1:15. How awfully late for Mildred to be up.